The Carolina Hurricanes just got done their game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay coming off the better end of that exchange, 3-2 over the Carolina Hurricanes, and it was a late third period goal by Brayden Point that ended up securing the win for the Tampa Bay Lightnings. We will go through these stats here real quick. Just a little bit of a breakdown on the game. So both teams at 33 shots on the mark. It was quite the game, I will say that. It was a very even affair. Carolina edged out the Tampa Bay Lightning in faceoffs, 56% to 44%. Tampa Bay 1 for 3 on the power play. Carolina 0 for 1 on theirs. And the hits, Carolina, once again, positive sign in this remark. They out-hit the Tampa Bay Lightning's 24-19, so we always do like to see that. And a quick goal breakdown from the game. Brandon Hagel got the game started with a goal in the first period on even strength. Then Andrei Svechnikov responds 6:31 into the second period to make it a 1-1 tie game. Nick Paul would then answer back in serve 9 minutes and 17 seconds on the power play for a 2-1 Tampa lead. And then Carolina would respond again. Jordan Staal from Brent Burns, nice little shot pass basically from the point, ends up tying the game. And then, as I just mentioned, Brayden Point with, 52 seconds left on the clock, ends up potting it to get the 3-2 lead. And that is where we ended the game. I'm going to pass it over to you, Dad. What was your kind of, breakdown of the game? Some positives and negatives.
I think the biggest positive for me is Andrei Svechnikov got going a little bit more than he's been going. So I think it's, for me, he looks like he's enjoying the game a little bit more. He needs to be, and Tripp said it in the third, and I think we've said it, and he's parroting exactly what we said. We need him to be physical, nasty, and but in a good way. And I think he was more so tonight than we've seen him in the past. So I think the biggest thing for our team is just the physicality is coming around, and I think we're going to need to do more and more and more of that. And I really like at the very end the shift with Roslovic and Blake. I think that we said it. I said it at the game the other night. To Cam, you said this kid needs more ice time, and this is going to be a stepping stone for him to see whether he can get there and he's ready for it or not. But I think he is, from what he showed in the third period. So we'll see. You miss a guy like Carrier, but I think at the end of it, they played with a lot of intensity, and it was a good game. But at the end, you got, I'll say it, we've got Nikita Kucherov. So, he's probably other than Jacob Slavin, he's probably he's the smartest guy in the ice tonight. So we'll see that, tough
sure.
loss, but you got to park it and move on to Thursday.
Yeah, the Tripp made a good point during the game, and so did, I believe, Mike. Kind of jumped off the back of it. Nikita Kucherov, you could shut him down for 59 minutes and 45 seconds. But that 15 seconds, he'll make some magic happen, and a goal will end up on the board. That's the kind of player he is. I think Carolina did an exceptional job the rest of the game shutting that line down. They do get their one opportunity. They're late. Really tough it's a tough goal. It's one of those ones, it's like, bad sort of, just it's hard because Kucherov makes an exceptional play, and then Brayden Point makes an exceptional play. It's like there wasn't a big defensive breakdown. I think, our gaps could have been a little bit tighter. I think that we definitely didn't shift. I mean, Point had way too much time in front of the net, 100%. Kucherov had too much time on that half wall. But at the end of the day, that's two of the best players in the world combining for an unbelievable goal. And you look at it and you're like, I don't blame any. Yeah, I guess. I mean, Orlov and Chatfield maybe didn't have their best effort tonight, and they're out there for the final goal. But man, it's hard to just put that blame on anybody. It was just like, what a play.
It's just like you said. It's one of those things that Tampa's the type of team that you can control them, because I thought we controlled the play pretty much all the third period, and I think we won
I
Yeah, and
think
we
most
won
of
the
the
board
second half of the
battles, and
second, I felt like
we were
we
winning all those 50-50
mhm.
pucks, and we were doing it all the period. And then all of a sudden, Tampa just flipped a switch, and Point and Kucherov took over, and we lost 2 board battles, and it was in the back of our net. And then we lost our coverage in front of the net.
Yep.
Jordan Staal was on the wrong side of the puck, the wrong side of the player, and it just happened. So, but when you got Nikita Kucherov making a pass like that off the wall to Brayden Point, and he goes from backhand to forehand, and then
And
across the
then back
seam. I
across the
mean, I mean,
grain.
how? I mean, I don't, who can defend against that? I know.
Who's gonna even
So,
save it, let alone
so,
defend it? I
anyways,
mean, like,
I
just
don't like.
it's
I hate that we lost, but at the same time, I like the way we played the game. So it's a good building block to
yeah.
Thursday.
I I definitely think the first half we've been notorious for some reason this season with we're very slow to start the game. And I think that we saw that for the basically the first half of this game. I felt like Tampa. I mean, granted, Tampa's a desperate team. I mean, losing 4 of their last, I think it's
I think
4 of their
I think
last
they've lost
5 or
5.
5 straight or
Yeah.
something along those lines. I think they lost 5 straight going into this one. So they're going to be a desperate hockey team. You know, Coop's going to have them ready to play. He's one of the best coaches in the NHL. And then their best players are some of the best players in the world, and they've won 2 cups because they're there. They're
Yep.
gamers. They're going to come back. They're going to find a way to be good. And so the first half of the game, I was like, okay, we can whitewash it 100%. I agree with you totally. The second half of the game, we were the better team. It's just we have to find our scoring touch again. We have to find our power play again. I know a lot of that comes back to Gostisbehere being missing and his absence, which is becoming more and more evident game over game. Um, but I look at the first goal, and we had a very similar situation with the third goal where we just lose man coverage in front of the net, and it ends up in the back of our net. I guess I kind of want to pose the question for you. Is it a system, or is it, just system errors, or are we just too soft on the back end kind of with the roster lineup
Um,
that we have?
I don't know. It really, it's sort of a situational thing. I don't think we're defensively soft. I think our system is tough to play in our D zone because we still do man coverage, and we're not going to abandon that. So if anybody has a little bit of a brain fart, then all hell breaks loose, so to speak. If you lose coverage, um, but like I said, I don't think we didn't play a bad game. I think we played a really good game, actually, top to bottom.
No.
And one of the things that I think Cameron said in the pregame, um, was that the one thing to how to control Tampa is to control their top line. And I think we did a really good job of that for most of the game. And I think when and you look at it from the
Yep.
depth scoring, okay, they got the scoring from Hagel. They got second power play unit scoring from Nick Paul. So we shut down the top guys, but we allowed, I think, their depth guys a little bit too much room, for whatever reason. It was just line changes, line matchups, or whatever you want to call it. But I think shutting down that top line was important, except for the last 52 seconds of the game. And we let them take over the
Yeah.
game. And, you see what happens when you take your foot off the gas against those 3 guys. They're just so good, so dynamic, and you can't do it.
No, 100%. I guess I got 2 final questions for you. I guess 3, because I want to ask one more, and then we'll get to the final segment I want to go to. Uh, did you see enough out of Jackson Blake in that third period in order to get him into that, first line winger role coming on
Yeah, no,
Thursday? I don't know
Thursday.
why I thought we were
Yeah.
playing tomorrow. I was just brain fart there.
I
You think he's earned that ice time, or do you think Rod goes back to a guy like Jack Roslovic, who has in the past earned it? I don't think he has had the best string of hockey these past 2 or 3 games, but we saw that kind of earlier on in the year, and he readjusted to that line, especially Sebastian Aho,
Mhm.
and then went on another scoring tear. So is it just one of those things that Roslovic's going to have these hot cold streaks and we kind of got to ride it out, or does Blake did he do enough in his small sample size to really warrant him
I
getting that
think
opportunity come Thursday?
I think he did. I think he did personally, and I think he's done it more so over the last 4 or 5 games. the way he's played progressively on the fourth line. And I like Roslovic. I really do. And I don't think he needs to leave the line, but I think what moving a guy like Blake does to that first line, it frees up Sebastian Aho because Roslovic has literally almost zero defense in his game. So I think Blake has a 200-foot game all day long and twice on Sunday. Oh yeah,
Reminds me
without
a
a
lot of
doubt.
his
I think
father.
more skilled than his father, but he does.
100%.
Yeah.
But that 200-foot
So
game,
so
he's
by
very
putting
hockey
him there, I
intelligent.
think it gives you're going to continue to free up Aho to be better, to be more creative, to take
Mhm.
more offensive risk. So for that reason, I think the change is a really good one, and he's earned it. But I think he's earned it.
Sorry, to add on, 100%, he has earned it. To add on to your point, he's also going to free up Jarvis because I do really like Arasovic. I think he's a big addition to the team. I want to find him a line that he fits on. But if Jarvis is going to play with Aho, Aho can play that in the corner, grindy game. He 100% can, but he needs help from somebody. Jarvis can be that guy 100%, but for those two guys to really work well together, they need a third guy in the line that can also do that role. I think if you add a guy like Martinook, it brings too much of that role to where there's not enough
Right.
offensive feel around it. Where Rosovic doesn't really have that grit factor 100% in his game. He does try and get into the corners, but he feels like every time he goes down there, he's getting muscled off the puck rather quickly. Where Blake goes down there, and excuse my voice cracks, I think I have strep. I'm not sure, but we're powering through. But when Blake goes down there, he seems to come up with 50-50 pucks, and he's a lot like Seth Jarvis in that regard. But he also, again, has the same offensive upside Seth Jarvis has. So I think it's really going to be positive if he
Yep.
does kind of stick out with that line. And then one final thing: who is your best player and not so best player from tonight's game?
I think probably the way he battled and the offensive and upside that he showed tonight. I think Svech was really good. I think he, there may have been guys. I don't know if we had guy that stood out in my opinion. You
I think we had one. I just don't think he was given the
Yeah,
offensive
but I think
point
a
production
guy
that he
like,
probably earned from that game.
even Jordan, I thought played well.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, at the end, he loses a key defensive zone faceoff. I think that's what kind of
Yep.
takes a little bit of the luster, but I think he had 2 points. So you can't argue with that either. I still think Natchez is really, I don't know where he's gone to. Maybe you think he was the best player? Well,
I was gonna about to
I don't
say I
know.
thought he actually had
Maybe I missed something,
I
but
so let me preface of what I'm about to say. So the reason, real quick, because I want to wrap this up. The reason why I'm giving Natchez my quote unquote I think he was our best player was because he got back to the Natchez that got him 41 points through 28 games or something like that. He wasn't being sporadic. He wasn't going back to stick handling into no man's land, just going 100 miles an hour until you run out
mhm.
of space. That was the Marty Natchez of old. What we saw tonight was Marty Natchez. I swear, I'm like that we have Tampa kind of sprinkled in at 3 different times this year, because what I think Marty Natchez is really trying to do is mimic his game off of Nikita Kucherov's game. And the best way to really see what a guy does on the ice is seeing him in person, live in the flesh. He saw him game 1 of the season. He goes off on a hot tear because what he did was he slowed down his game and he started to really possess the puck and put the puck into winning opportunities. Not just so much running around just to run around because you're going 100 miles an hour. That's what we've started to see out of Marty Natchez this past month. You saw it again tonight, though. He sees the way Nikita plays. Nikita plays so
Mhm.
slow yet so fast at the same time, and Natchez can really play that way as well too, because he has that. He can really slow down and speed up on the blink of it. And so I think what we're seeing is Natchez got to see his kind of mimic character live in the flesh, and second and third period. Every time Marty Natchez had the puck on his stick, I felt like there were 2 turnovers that he had, 2 tougher turnovers, that kind of led to offensive chances that I didn't really like. But what he was creating offensively, it's one of those things where it's like in football terminology, there's a player on my favorite team called Kevin De Bruyne. He makes these crazy passes that have to like 70-80% of the time, they don't work. But the 20% they do, they automatically lead to goals. And so Pep, who is one of the most tactile coaches, kind of just lets Kevin do what Kevin does, because he's like, he's going to try 20 of them, but we're going to score 5 goals off of it. So it's like, you kind of got to give and take a little bit. It's like, he's going to have some turnovers, but if he's creating those really high-end offensive chances, which I think he created 2 or 3 really high danger chances tonight, hey, I'm happy with the way he played in that
maybe
regard.
you're right. Maybe I'm yanking on him a little bit too hard, but I guess I'm just a little bit tainted right now with well, anytime I see any of that stuff, maybe I say, he's going off the rails again. So, maybe I did see. I no,
We
no,
want
I
him,
get
but
it.
we want him to
I
play
get it.
with
I do.
that
I
because
get
we
it.
need
And I
that.
just want to, I want to stop seeing it. I saw with too much regularity still. Some of the high risk plays that I don't like to see. But at the end of the day,
Yep.
yeah, to your point, it's fair point. I do think he did generate some high danger chances too. So high risk, high reward with Marty Natchez.
Yeah, it's a lot like a Mitch Marner-esque player, although Marner, I can't say that because Marner is like one of the better PK guys in the NHL. But anyways, that is our 2 thoughts on the Hurricanes game tonight. Any final
No, you
thoughts
just got
from
to
you,
keep
Dale?
building on it. I think the physicality's got to come, the nastiness got to come to the game. I swear they got to be listening to the podcast, because we keep saying they got to get nasty, they got to get ugly, they got to get grindy, they got to get mean. And once we get mean,
Mhm.
we got enough skill plus the mean. We're going to be the Florida Panthers of last year. And I think that's going to be where we need to get to in order to be successful the rest of the year. And I think we're building towards it. So it'll be interesting to see
Yep.
how they play against the Leafs on Thursday.
100%. Well, you guys will hear from us. This will go out, I guess, Wednesday, and then you guys will hear from us next tomorrow, Thursday, as the pregame preview will come out for the Leafs Canes games. But if you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.